want to talk to everyone about Jesus and his family. As you know, Joseph was his father and Mary was his mother. Although his birth was a supernatural one, overshadowed by the Holy Spirit, but he still had a father, an earthly father. And Jesus didn't start his ministry straight away. He was born, and for 30 years he had to live in a family. He had to show every one of us how to live in a family. He grew in wisdom. He obeyed his parents, and by studying the scriptures, I have been able to reflect. A Jewish boy goes to the synagogue to learn under the rabbis at that time from the age of 3. And I'm sure his mom or his dad must have taken him to the synagogue to learn the scriptures, to know the Torah, to understand the Hebrew language, to learn Aramaic. And he was obedient to his parents. I'm sure he must have had friends in his neighborhood when they returned to Jerusalem, Israel, after the angel had asked them to go to Egypt in order to save his life from Herod. And when they did return, they went to Nazareth. I'm sure he must have had friends in Nazareth. He grew up with friends. I'm sure he must have done household chores with his mom. He learned carpentry from his dad in the workshop because his dad was a carpenter. And I'm sure he learned how to make chairs and tables and furniture for people in that neighborhood. Jesus Christ enjoyed his family life because if he didn't believe in family, I think he would have started his ministry at a very young age. For 30 years, he lived an anonymous life. And he learned about his surroundings. He spent his time learning in the home and learning about family and being relational with each another, building relationships with his other brothers and sisters that came after him. I want to talk to each and every one of us. This is a time where we reflect about relationships in our family. I'm sure they must have had difficulties in the home because this was a poor family. Most people that come from Nazareth were poor. Nazareth was the slums, the ghettos, the poor place in Israel. I'm sure they must be had financial difficulties. I'm sure they must be had problems in the home. And Jesus must been able to, through it all, be able to build good relationships with his family. That is why when he started his ministry after the age of 30, he had been able to understand human problems. He could be able to build relationships with the most notorious people where he came from, and to go out into all the villages and be able to build relationships with people. So family relationship was very important to Jesus Christ. Because later on in his life, you see some of his half-brothers followed him, like James and Jude, because they knew him. in the home. Therefore, they could follow him and become his disciples and be able to carry on the teachings of Jesus Christ when he ascended to heaven. So, the relationship in the home was very strong. And today I want to talk to every one of you in our homes during this time. We must try and build good family relationships with one another, because Jesus was all about relationship with people, loving them, caring for them, healing them, being able to see to their needs. Where did it all start? With his own family. To call mom or mother in the Hebrew language is Ima. He was so close to his Ima Mary and with his siblings in the home. Today in our homes, we need to be able to build that real relationship with our family. We need to be real like Jesus, because he taught us how to live real lives. Be truthful. He was very truthful. I remember at the age of 12 years old, when they went for the Passover in Jerusalem, in the book of Luke records this, and they were back going home after the Passover, and the crowds were so massive that Joseph and Mary had lost Jesus. They didn't know where he was, and they had to return back to Jerusalem. And Mary was so frantic, and Joseph was so frantic looking for him. But Jesus spoke the truth. He said, when they said, "Son, why did you do this to us?" He said, "I was on my Father's business." At the age of 12, he could speak the truth to his parents, being adults. So, it goes to show us as little children, when we are young, we must be able to speak the truth to one another in our homes. If we make a mistake or do something that our parents do not approve of. And by his lifestyle in the home, he teaches us that how we need to be strong in our families. He is the good example that we need to follow. So what does our homes need today through the life of Jesus Christ? His love, his forgiveness. You see in the book of Mark, he was in a home and he was teaching, and they said to Jesus that your family is out there. You know what he said? He said, "Who is my mother? Who is my father?" He pointed to the people in the room. He didn't mean that he didn't like his own personal family. He loved them. But he said more than that, those who follow and obey his commandments are his family. And remember, his own family thought he was mad. But he didn't listen to their words. Sometimes in our own family, people will tell that we are mad, we are bad, we're not good enough. But Jesus, when he looks at you, he says, "You are enough for me." Because that's how he made his family feel, that they were enough for him. Although they didn't make him feel that he was enough. So we can learn from his family, how he lived with his family. It's a good example to you and I. God bless you.